the world is filled with some pretty strange sexual customs.
Let's take a trip around the world in 80 bangs.
Hannah and John back on another episode of Think Tank. So we are going to travel around the world to 5 different countries and 5 different really awesome, interesting, and I think illuminative sexual customs.
Illuminative.
Yes. And if you enjoy these sexual customs, guys, don't forget to like the video so that we know to
In
provide
their
more.
personal life or enjoy learning about them?
Whichever. If you've personally experienced them, feel free to record your next instance, send it in, we'll show it on the show. But anyway, the first place we're going to go to is Indonesia. It's a ceremony known as PON. Here are the details. It's held 7 times a year, during which participants travel to a sacred mountain on the island of Java to perform a ceremony of good luck and fortune through sex. Participants have to spend the night and have intercourse with someone other than their wife or husband. It is said that the wishes of good luck will only come true if they have sex with the same person at all 7 celebrations throughout the year.
So every year you get to have sex with somebody who's not your spouse 7 times.
Yeah, only 7 times a year,
Not a big deal.
Yeah, so over a decade,
It's for good
only...
luck.
Exactly.
Okay, it's for good luck.
Yeah, here, I would like some good luck and have sex 7 times a year. That would be nice.
This is so interesting to me, though, because I feel like, you know, in cultures like this where there's so much rainforest and they're kind of, you know, remote from modern day civilization, what sort of things they come up with. Do you know what I mean? When you think about the cultures of like people who live in the Amazon and like people who live in these jungles in like Indonesia and Borneo and Papua New Guinea and all those places, I wonder if like left to our own devices, like if we hadn't been like modernized or westernized, what sort of things would be part of our culture. Like it's such a weird concept to think about.
You'd sit around like, okay, can we build a raft? No, can't build a raft. Anyone want to think of a weird way to fuck? But yeah, 7 times a year. I mean, we just take all of our college students and we send them down to Fort Lauderdale to have sex. But that's only once a year. And also, I have to imagine that, I don't know how widespread this is in Indonesia. I imagine it's a relatively small group of people. But how could you have any certainty of who the father of children's were if you're ritualistically cheating on your husband 7 times a year?
Takes a village.
But it is interesting. It is interesting, though. Okay, now let's go west to India. At night, in this small group, it's in one of the states of India, they engage in ceremonial orgies and sexual romps. Girls drink a natural liquor as an herbal contraceptive to avoid pregnancy, and then choose different sexual partners every night. If the herbal drink doesn't work and the girl becomes pregnant, the entire village will adopt the baby, since no one knows for sure who the father is. Which gets around that problem that we talked about for Indonesia.
Exactly. But I don't understand. Maybe she had sex before she went on this sexual romp with her husband. Mm-hmm. So maybe you do know who the father is.
No. I mean, in this case, the girls are having sex literally with a different person every night.
Sounds like college. Not from my college experience, but somebody's college experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Not mine.
She's blushing like it was someone else's experience.
Not mine.
But yeah, no, I think that...
I'm a good girl.
I think that it would be a good idea for children in our society to be exposed to sex a little bit earlier. Because I think that
Why?
Because I think that we fill kids up with so many, like, sexual hang-ups and worries about purity and, like, all that stuff that I think we cause them a lot of
So just have
problems.
them go out everywhere. Middle school, whatever. Just, like, go around. No
If
way.
they feel the natural urge to do that, why not? As long as we educate them about how to be safe about it and everything.
Oh, I totally disagree. I don't think you're old enough to make those kind of decisions. You're not mature enough. You
Well,
don't have the...
I would argue the fact that many other
Cognitive
societies still
capacity.
do it probably implies that perhaps we're...
Okay, whatever.
Okay,
Moving
we
on.
agree to disagree.
Moving on.
When I was a kid, I wanted it, okay? Anyway, now to Niger. At the annual Garawal Festival, Wodabi men dress in elaborate costumes and makeup and then stand in a line in front of women to show off their beautiful teeth, faces, and features. They're very elaborately done up. Women pick new husbands from the men they are most impressed by, and if the new couple leaves without their current husband knowing, they become socially recognized. I don't know exactly how that last part functions in terms of like if they're just like hiding behind...
If they sneak away, they're like, wow, you guys are sly.
Exactly.
You guys are awesome. I like this. I like being,
seems
it's like The Bachelorette. You go through, it's like the exact same idea. Like, here's a rose, here's a rose, like, let's sneak off.
Yeah.
The girls get to pick. Just make your teeth look nice.
Yeah, we should record it. You are the Garawal or something. I don't know if that's actually linguistically how that works. It's interesting. I mean, it's not that different than like at dances. We have everybody does themselves up and tries to
when
look
you go
good
to a
for everybody
bar,
else.
you dress up. Mm-hmm. Girls choose. I mean, you
I paint my face
thank
and everything.
God you don't have to choose your husband for that one.
Exactly.
One.
You just choose the person to give you herpes. Okay, now, Papua New Guinea, let's travel down there. Boys from Sambian society are removed from the presence of females at the age of 7 and then live in a community of only males for the next decade. Their skin is pierced to remove contamination brought upon by interaction with women. You know, I've often wondered how I could get rid of that.
I mean, it's cooties. Like,
Exactly, it's a cootie hole.
I'm sorry, I apologize on behalf of all women for the cooties.
Don't touch me.
For the cooties.
Then they consume large amounts of sugar cane. I've been doing that to self-medicate against cooties, to incur nose bleeding and vomiting. They drink the semen of their elders to retain growth, strength, and sexual potency. And when they are reintroduced to society, they continue their nosebleeding habit to mirror their wives' menstrual cycle.
That's nice. That's solidarity.
Exactly.
I like it.
This is not the only society where they do certain of those things we just mentioned. But it does make me wonder if porn stars have like great upper body strength or something from all the drinking of semen. But yeah, look, this is something that that society has been doing for a very long time. It apparently works for them. Their culture has continued to this point. I, for one, can't imagine being involved in that, but I'm sure that they would find aspects of our civilization to be equally abhorrent.
I agree. I know this is another one of those things where you're like left to your own devices, like totally remote, like what you come up with and how you become a man in society. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting.
In our society, you just buy your own car. That's pretty much it. You don't have to drink any of it. And then in Australia, at the age of 10 or 12, a boy has his front tooth knocked out and his septum pierced. He's considered symbolically dead at this point, and then he is taken into the wilderness by other men, circumcised, and then expected to ingest his foreskin without chewing. Okay. Because chewing would just take away the whole point.
Be a little baby.
don't be such a little baby. Eat your foreskin. He is mute throughout the entire process. Then his penis is cut lengthwise on the underside. Don't cut it on the top side. That's just a foolish superstition. The blood is dripped over a fire to purify it. And from then on, the male urinates from the underside of his penis, which presumably makes it easier to aim. Then all the men go hunting, return to camp with food and covered in blood, and the boy is considered reborn as an adult male.
I've seen a documentary on this actually, and when they were talking about some of these sort of customs, and this is so interesting to me because they can't speak, and if they like cry out, they're considered like they failed the test and they're not a full man yet, and they have to go through the process again. So it's so interesting to me that this is how they like establish their masculinity. Like we just have a bar mitzvah, you get presents and you eat some challah, but like this sounds a little more
slice the entire,
a little more painful than that. Like
saying
hi to your aunt. I don't know.
I don't know if she like pinches you really hard.
Yeah,
I'd prefer my penis was cut. Yeah, I mean a lot of societies have these sorts of like rites of passage. I don't know what in modern American society is. I mean, I guess it's like going off and living on your own, proving that you can like support yourself and then support a family. But it's a much more gradual thing. There's no like one line. But I feel like it's more
of like a celebratory thing now. Like, oh, you're 18, you're a man now. But like, not really.
Yeah, have you talked to an 18-year-old guy?
Not a man. They
barely
need to
a
get
child.
their undersides slit.
I volunteer to do it.
They're missing out.
18-year-old America, I'm coming. But anyway, those are just 5 of the really interesting sexual customs from societies around the world. I'm sure that if you think even just a little bit, you can probably come up with things that we do here in America or wherever you're watching these videos. They're a little bit weird too. Let's talk about those below the like button down in the comment section. See if perhaps we're the weirdest ones of all when it comes to sexuality. See you in the next one, guys.